Hola, hola. This is your boy Tico Trim. This is Yam, and this is Double I, like everybody requested, because I've been getting a lot of emails and private messages about having Double I on the show because apparently everybody loves Double I more than they love my black ass. But we'll let that slide. We'll let that shit slide. Pretend like y'all didn't say that shit.
I had no idea I had a fan base. Thank you.
Yeah, you have a big fan base. You have a serious fan base. So yeah, this is going to be the Yam Baron Sadist and I show basically.
Yamity Yam, doing some sort of laundry.
And thus we trust. Should it first.
Wait, is that?
Yeah, I mean, did he put his phone inside of the dishwasher?
Yeah,
what's going on?
Right? You put it in the dryer, yo. You put it in the dryer. Stop playing. You sound like sound like he's shoveling in snow.
For some reason,
I know,
like
shit, man.
Oh shit!
For some reason,
are we jingling in there next to your balls? Because I don't want to hear that.
Right?
Yeah, I think so. You guys are bumping up next to my yams.
You
got 2 hours to see.
I think I'm gonna throw up.
Okay.
I think I'm sick to my stomach.
Oh my god!
I think I'm gonna throw up.
There goes my curry. There goes my curry chicken.
There goes my Chana Marsala, motherfucker.
What? Because I know, Tico, you said it before. What your videos, the videos that brought you to the manosphere were like True Sherm. Double I, did you ever mention that? What videos brought you to the manosphere?
Well, no, I never. Well,
Tico,
okay.
Let me stop.
No, not you, Tico.
I'm just joking.
Not
I'm
you.
Joking.
I mean, we had conversations before your channel and all that shit, but that's different.
My channel's been around a lot longer than that conversation.
Well, it's debatable, but either way.
Yeah, right. My channel's been around since this channel's been around for like 3-4 years now.
Right, exactly.
In any iteration.
And I've known you how long?
About 2. 1.5, 2. Not including family ties, but talking behind the scenes.
Well, that's what I'm talking about. Yeah. See, now you get them.
Ties, but we've been talking.
Yeah,
we've been talking in Discord for about 2 years. Whatever stupid.
That's like how I got into.
Well, my Spanish channel's been up for almost like 14 years.
I think you're having technical Yam difficulties. Your flippy mic is flipping on your phone, and you're talking like, I don't know. Are you like 50 feet away from your phone?
Trying to holler like you're talking like you're trying to secretly holler at a girl at the same damn time when you're talking.
Right?
Hey,
what's her name?
Much better. Much fucking better.
How does she?
Is it good?
Did she program?
Okay, here we go.
What?
Who programmed me?
Are you eating her pussy right now or something, nigga?
No.
Yeah, I know. What's going on, man? Are you at the beach in one of the bathrooms?
Like you motorboating her pussy.
Okay, wait. Just y'all help me out with this idea though.
Okay.
So like if you, because like notch count for guys, does that matter?
Yeah, of course it does.
Okay, so it's like
if you want to,
not the way you think it does.
From which ages is it most pivotal? From which ages in life is it most important?
Listen.
The problem with that is it depends on the type of guys you're hanging with, and it depends on the guys. If you want to gloat to guys and you want to be like you want to be the ultimate guy, then yes, it matters. If it's basically all depends on you. It's quantity versus quality, basically.
See,
was the quality good the whole entire time, or was the quality only good a couple of the times that you basically went in for your notch count for the most part?
Yeah, but does that
my thought process is a little bit more different.
Yeah. I was like
my thought process is a little bit more different. So once again, I think there's the problem right from the beginning, and it's not the way you think it is, right? So shit, I was multitasking.
Okay. Let me just hop in real quick.
Notch count.
I was
notch count. Right.
Okay. Get back.
So the important fact to you guys would be, like gloating and that sort of thing, right? At the end of the day, the problem is, maybe.
No,
but
I don't know. I don't care.
Anybody, like gloating, right? So the gloating factor or whatever. But my thought process is at the end of the day, you got to answer to one thing. That's your psyche, your soul, your being, your human, yourself, right? Your morale. And the more notch count you have, you may go and start flashing it here, flashing it there, flashing it everywhere, and it may get you into certain circles and get you out of certain circles. But what is the damage, right? What is the damage? You're going around telling people, like, it's like being a girl walking around saying, yeah, I'm jumping on a carousel, blah blah blah,
Well, like
blah
how
blah
many
blah.
people
I
I
got
slept
rode
with
50
is only
horses
just
with
like
50
it's
foot
just
dicks.
a variable that like you say, it's even some women use to blow up to make themselves sound more interesting.
Yeah. And that's the sad part. Women use it to
Yeah.
basically make themselves sound like men because they think men. That's what men want to hear for the most
What-
part.
what-
So like,
And the
but then,
argument,
like,
the argument
What
right
is this,
now,
Tico double I pillow talk?
right? And the
Speak
sad
up,
part about
kid.
it, I'm serious, but like the sad part about that whole entire thing is like women run around because they believe that's what men want, or that's what men want to hear, because this is what they believe men want in a woman. Basically, they want her to have this many body counts. Basically, but the sad part about that is men don't want a woman with a high ass body count, and the sad part about that is women always miss the mark on it. Then women's argument to that would be, well, she has experience. Okay, why would I want to buy something with experience? That experience, with his experience,
Mileage.
yeah, mileage with experience. That'd be like my high mileage cars, basically. Why would I want to buy a high mileage car? Why can't I have a brand new car? I don't want to. I don't want to buy a car that's got problems and I can't get the Carfax on it.
You sure you don't? Let me interest you in a slickety slime mobile.
Yeah, that'd be trying to double sell me a car that doesn't even fucking exist. And
How about a drooly car? Like something with pus oozing out of it. Ugh, smelly fishy car. Can I interest you in one of those?
And the sad part about that is the used cars suck for the fact that you don't know what's wrong with it. You don't know how many owners it's had. You don't know any of that shit about the used car for the most part, because the sad part about that, you can't get a
How hard
Carfax
it's
on a
been
woman.
driven.
Yeah, like how it's been driven. And the fact of the matter is, you can't get a Carfax on a woman because she ain't gonna tell the truth and she's gonna lie through her fucking teeth, basically. So
Damn
women
right.
having a high body count is poor.
Yeah.
This
What's
is
up,
why women lie about
Playboy?
their body
Playboy in the chat.
because the sad part about the whole entire women thing, they'll run around with this and do all this stupid shit and do monkey double backflips, but when they meet a guy, they'll lie about their body count, basically. But they want you to be proud of their body count, but they'll lie about their body count. What's that tell you about women?
Yeah.
And they want you to be they want to be able to have this high body count, but they'll lie to you about what their body count is.
So is that
deep
bad?
down
Sure,
deep down
like,
inside, they know very well that the high body
I've been
count
plowed
isn't a value.
through. I've been plowed through by the football team and 50 of their friends, each of them. So that's like, I don't know, 50,000 people. I don't know, maybe somewhere around there. But to you, I'm a virgin.
True story. And the sad part about that is women don't realize that this is where they fuck up at, and this is the problem that they're having with a lot of their relationships and getting into relationships and shit like that. Because at the end of the day, nobody wants somebody, and they know this deep down inside. This is why they're throwing a fit about this shit. This is why there's body positivity. This is why there's quit shaming a woman for her sexual past history and shit like that. All because they know that nobody wants that. That's not what anybody wants. This is why they have these whole entire movements like body positivity. Nobody really wants to date a heavy-set woman, basically, or an unhealthy woman, and nobody really wants to date a woman with high mileage on it, basically, either. So, I mean, if they do date them, it's basically just a pump and dump, basically, and leave on the side of the road. Pick up, leave on the side of the fucking road, basically, type things. If you have a high body count.
You sure you don't want this Cadillac with a shit ton of scratches and dents on the fenders?
The window's been busted out several times.
No. The windows are all scratched up to the point you can't see through them. They're just like permanently fogged.
And the back left window has a trash bag on it.
Yeah, and if you hit the door handle just right, it'll open nice and clean. But on your way in, it'll like grab you. Yeah.
Yeah. Basically. That's
Think
basically
about that.
that's
and
basically
50 other guys know how that door works.
Yeah. Basically. It's basically like the whole entire key thing. It's basically like the whole entire key thing, because like women will gloat about it and they'll say like, well, Basically, an analogy, a good analogy for that is, why would I want a door lock that multiple keys can open? I want a door lock that only one key can open. You see what I'm saying?
True, because any one of those keys can essentially show up at any point and
Yeah,
be like, hey, let me test my access to see if this access is
yeah.
still going to work.
Because at the end of the day, everybody has a key to that door. Is the best way to actually describe that analogy for women for the most part, because women don't realize this shit. But
That's an excellent point, Tico.
like,
You are right.
why would I want a door? Why would I want a lock with multiple keys to it? In other words,
Yeah.
like, think about that, yeah, for a minute.
Is Yam back in here?
I think he is.
Yeah. Hello?
Yeah, I hear
That
you.
was weird.
Yeah, like, think
So
about that
a
for a
man's
second.
key is a man's key different every time that he uses, or does he
No,
take a key, does he make a key for a lock that he finds?
no. Basically, what I'm saying is, why would I want a woman who had multiple keys in her lock? That means anybody
Yeah,
could break
sure.
into that door.
Mhm.
I want a door lock that actually I can only open. You see what I'm saying?
Yeah,
One that's been
yeah.
busted down.
Not one that's been
there's no
broken
door.
into or ransacked.
There's no
or,
door, no lock.
You know,
And I can explain to you what that means if you really want me to.
The tumbler's been stripped and broken several
I got it.
times, or the tumbler's been taken out and
Padlock's been
recalibrated several times.
obliterated.
Basically,
There's no
yeah. You
chain,
know,
nothing.
I don't want no
It's
door
funny
where multiple keys can open. Basically,
when I hear
that's
people talking about like picking locks and breaking into stuff, because it's like, why would you want to spend so much time trying to decipher a lock when it's just like anybody can get at that lock really easily.
yeah.
It's just
Because
like
the sad part about
somebody
that
has
is,
a
like,
key.
and that's the same concept for that when you're like, women don't want to give it up right away, but she's giving it up to everybody else but you. That's basically her letting you know that you're not worthy of getting it, but all these other guys were worthy of getting it, obviously, on the first or second date, basically.
Right.
That's typically how that works. That means she doesn't want to fuck you, but she'll fuck everybody else but you, for the most part. You see what I'm saying? And so typically, if you got to sit here and decipher a lock, it's not worth your fucking time if everybody else is pretty much done ran and, like, then use bolt cutters to get in. Motherfuckers done use, like, a bomb to get in. Motherfuckers done use C4 to get in. Motherfuckers done, motherfuckers got master keys to the lock still, like, decades later and shit like that. What's the point of having that lock around? What's the point of having that door? You might as well go buy a new door at this point in time. I don't want to use door. I want a door that I know that I'm the only one that got a key to.
Yeah.
I don't want a door. I don't want a door where, somebody has a 15-year-old key to, basically, or a 12-year-old key to, or a 2-year-old key to, or a 5-year-old key to. Why would I want that? Why?
That really puts it in perspective, actually, too. People who have had the key and the lock's never been changed. Funny, you can't change the locks on a woman, and that's the only caveat to that. Can't change the lock. People try with surgery.
Yeah, you can't change the locks no matter what. Even with the surgery, you can usually tell when shit's actually been redone again, basically. It's just facts.
If you're a thief. Well, what if you're a thief and you just all the locks based on because you steal out of them?
The sad part about that, if you're a thief, 9 times out of 10, you're basically a pump and dumper, basically. If you're a thief, for the most part, if you want to use that analogy, you're basically somebody that pump and dumps, basically, or spins multiple plates. You're basically. Well,
I guess I do that then.
You're pretty much either a pump and dumper or a PUA, basically, at that point.
Yeah.
If you're going to be a thief, for the most part. True. So that's pretty much what it is. And the sad part about that, if you're not one of those people, you basically have a key that you never return, for the most part. Then you be an X, basically, with a key that never was returned. So there's that too. So, like, there's several things that go on around women. There's the people who basically, thief pick the lock, basically, which are pickup artists and people who pump and dump. You got the people who still got keys to the lock years later after the fact that they broke up. You got people who use bolt cutters to get in the lock. You got people who just kick in the door. You got people who just kick in the door and ransack the lock. You see what I'm saying? So Why would I want any of those if I can't be the only key to that
Don't
lock?
forget
Why
Chad
would I
and
want that?
Tyrone.
Yeah, they basically are the ones who, they're
That
basically Chad and Tyrone's usually the ones who's like, pretty
VIP
much
vacation access.
yeah, they
They're the
pretty
key maker.
they got the they're basically the ones with the keys to the pussy basically. In order usually. It depending on what the Chad and Tyrone is. If it's an ex-boyfriend, then it's a person that has a key that never returned it. If it's somebody that she just met, then he's a person who's pretty much picking the lock. You see what I'm saying? That's pretty much the general gist of Chad and Tyrone. Now, if you're Pookie and Ray Ray, you're probably going to use a bolt cutter to get in the lock. You see what I'm saying? Bolt cutter or C4 to get in the door, basically. That's typically how that works for Pookie and Ray Ray. Pookie and
Who
Ray Ray.
uses which one? Which one uses like a subpoena issued or like a government issued like document eviction? Like who actually uses that to get into the house?
A government issue eviction.
Yeah.
A government issue eviction would probably be your husband after you didn't give him any sex and he started banging another woman.
Oh shit! You're just like put you
Your
out on the
boyfriend or
street.
your boyfriend or your husband who pretty much is giving you an eviction notice because he's banging somebody else and you just been replaced with a younger model probably, or a better looking model, or a model that looks as good as you, or a model that pretty much caters to that man and doing all the shit that you don't do, or it's a housekeeper. A housekeeper,
You overcomplicate it, Tico. You overcomplicate it.
He's the one that asked about
the reason is because he wanted better than whatever he had.
Yeah, basically he wanted what he's not getting in that relationship. Basically, it's not better once you have.
Is it a relationship now?
Right.
Yeah,
so a better situation. So better.
Yeah, he wanted a situation. Basically, is pretty much what it is.
Right. But either way, he wanted better than what he had. Better situation,
Definitely.
better person, better whatever. Something better than what he had. And that's why he had to do what he had to do, or he did what he did.
Mm-hmm. Basically.
I'm just interested in how people get the keys now. Like who gets a key? Some people get handed a key randomly.
Like I said, if it's an ex-boyfriend, he has a key that he never returned. If it's Chad and Tyrone, they're basically picking a lock. If it's Pookie, Ray Ray, Tony and Guido, or Casper and whatever the heck, and you got like other people from other cultures, basically, they're basically bolt cutting the lock or putting C4 on the lock, basically, to get in the damn lock. So it's all about how secure the lock is at this point in time, how secure the door and lock is when it comes to relationships for the most part. So if Chad and Tyrone can pick the lock, or if her boyfriend or if her ex still has a key to the lock, you don't want that fucking person at all for the most part. They're not worth your time and they're not worth a relationship. They're just worth being pumped and dumped.
Yeah, I just always think about like if I ever am in a relationship, like I always think like how competent do you have to be to actually manage one? Because people always make it seem like it. People, I don't think they make it seem like it's super easy, but it's so it's so much more like complex now. But people try to like.
Well, the sad part about that is it's not even complex. The fact of the matter is, people make it sound more complex than it needs to be. And the sad part about it, it's not easy either. So like you got to put in some actual work. And the sad part about that is women aren't willing to put in work. Women just want shit to be basically women want shit on recruit mode for the most part the whole entire time. They want everything to stay the same the whole entire time. And or they'll try to change you, then they're unhappy with you basically, which is sad because they're basically on
like
recruit mode
if I start out not liking her, then that's what draws me. But as soon as I start liking her, she turns on the red light, the red signal, like the.
Well, the sad part about that it's a crazy dance between men and women.
Sure,
and the sad part about that is the internet and the interaction between them is basically no different than a fucking tango or no different than a fucking salsa for the most part. Or kizomba basically is a good example of that. No, those are like the best ways I can describe relationships. Like in those three dances, basically, the best dance you want to be in a relationship is probably kizomba. I'm just keeping it 100. If you're Kasamba, if you're Kasamba, 9 times out of 10, y'all are probably the closest and the tightest you'll ever be. If you're Tango, it's basically like your body parts. One of your body parts are apart. If it's the Argentinian Tango, your faces are close together, but your bodies are apart. You see what I'm saying? So that means something's not right in your relationship. Somewhere in your relationship. If it's a regular Tango, 9 times out of 10, your upper bodies are apart, your faces are apart, but your bodies are together. That's not something you want either. The salsa, that's just basically you smashing. That's just basically all lust. Basically, that's all it really is. It's just lust, straight lust. There's really no other thing connecting you besides just fucking sex for the most part. And the sad part about the tango is like a lot of people are in relationships they're literally doing the tango. Let it be the Argentinian tango or the regular tango. Either your faces are touching, your bodies are apart, or your bodies are touching, and your upper body, your faces are apart for the most part. So it's one of those things where you got to figure out how to sync everything. And Kastamba is the best you want to be, and is the best you can possibly be in a relationship because your bodies are touching, your face is touching, everything is touching for the most part. There's always full contact for the most part. Is the best way to put it. Um, so like I said, 9 times out of 10, if you're in Kasamba, 10 out of 10 times, there's nobody picking a lock and there's nobody breaking in the door and there's nobody, C4 in the door and nobody has a key to the lock, basically. At that point in time.
So just a question. Then I just have one question. Like, do you think that relationships of today are like all relationships can be categorized under those three?
Oh yeah, definitely, definitely. All relationships can be categorized under those three. It all depends on which you're looking for and how you're looking for it, and because like it's kind of like what I say about the whole entire car thing. If you ever drive down the street one day and you see a couple in the car, look at how they're interacting with each other. Or when you drive past them, are they both looking out opposite ends? They're all both not looking out opposite windows. Are they not looking at each other? Or when you drive past it, is one person engaged in a person and the other person is not? Or if you're driving past them, they're both interacting and they're very animated and are smiling and laughing and happy. Basically, that's basically the three types of relationships that you could possibly be in this day and age. Either you're both not talking to each other, one of y'all are talking to each other, or y'all both are really engaged with each other. That's the best way I can put it to you. Is basically drive down the street and look into cars and see all couples, how they interact with each other. If those are the three types of relationships you'll see. Literally, you'll see one person engaging in a conversation, the other person looking the other way or looking like they're cold and distant. Then you'll see ones where both people look cold and distant, and then you'll see the one where they're both engaged and they're both smiling and laughing. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
That's typically the three types of relationships. Like I said, there's a tango, there's a kasamba, and there's a salsa, basically. That's basically those three. That's those three things in a nutshell. The one where they're both engaged and their hands are flying and are giggling and laughing, that's kasamba. The one where the one where they're both apart, looking out the opposite ends, that's pretty much the salsa. The one where one's engaged and the other one's not, that's pretty much the Argentinian tango. Or the tango period.
Okay.
So that's the best way I can describe it to you. And that's pretty much what it is in a nutshell in this day and age. The sad part about that is what type of relationship you're in, what type of relationship are you looking for, and is it what you want for the most part?
I mean, yeah, without knowing, I wouldn't have picked any of those dances to choose from. Like, I wonder if it's even possible for a person to understand that, but still not be able to do it. Because it's to me, it still is a very difficult thing to do. But I mean, it's not.
That's basically what dance. That's basically why I said dance. That's why I basically picked three different dances because they're very difficult to do. And the sad part about relationships, you basically are technical and you basically got to learn each other continuously for the most part. And the sad part about that is there's always going to be a change. You'll go from the basics to advanced, basically. And that's the best way I describe it to you. So you'll go from the basics and then you'll start branching out into like advanced moves, basically, to spins and dips and drops and all this other extra shit, basically. So you go from basics to
So
advance.
is it my
So,
job to convince? So like that's the thing with the lock picking thing. It's not my job to convince a woman to step up from recruit difficulty, right? Like if I don't have to do that
a woman
because
should be able to a woman should want to step up from recruit difficulty. A woman should pretty much step up from recruit difficulty. The question is she going to? What type of opposite are you to her basically for her to want to make that change? The same goes for men. Okay, if a woman wants a man, what are you his proper opposite, or are y'all basically the same fucking thing? You can't be the same fucking thing and expect him to change. You got to be an opposite of that man, basically. You got to be able to complete that man for the most part. That's typically how that works.
I mean, so is it possible that any person like Prince Harry, for example, can just meet a person all the way across the world that matches that, or that he thinks like complements that, and then like make a brand choice, like a brand investment or
He was
something like
just
that?
stupid. He was just stupid on that pick. That's my honest opinion on that.
Because like I think he would be thinking like, oh, I can garner support from the black communities and stuff. I don't know. Maybe who knows what the rationale
Well,
could
no,
have
it's
been
not even
behind
that
that.
though. He basically made a dumb decision. Basically, he basically was thinking with his small head. That's typically what it is. It's not nothing else other than the fact that he was thinking with a small head. And she happened to show up in the right place at the right time. So either one or two things happen. She got somebody to put him in front of. She got somebody to help her get in front of him, or she happened to show up in front of him. That's like one of those things that women tend to do. Like if you're at a
I think
coffee
Double
shop
I
and a
mentioned something about an auctioneer or something like that. I don't know. That's what he mentioned
when
something about.
not recently, but
That would be a pimp.
basically somebody either put her in front of him, or she worked her way in front of him. Basically, you see what I'm saying? So basically, she had to work her way in front of him so she can actually be in his sight. So because women would do this shit like blatantly. They'll actually literally walk in front of a man to get attention. A good example of that is tonight when I went shopping with my daughters basically because we go to the same store, this Jewish store basically, and there was this black girl in the Jewish store, and she was sitting there, she had on some tight ass fucking shorts basically, and she's trying to shake her ass in front of me to get me to pay attention, and I wasn't, and so it's like she would try to move in front of me so she could be in my eyesight so I can look at her ass shaking in front of me. So she would try to move. Like she would move, like if I was looking to the left, she would move in front of me and do it again. If I was looking to the right, she would move in front of me and try to do it again. And if I was looking to the front, she would move in front
Hate
of me and
that.
try to do it again. So like this heifer was literally trying to like shake her ass in front of me. She was literally trying to be in my line of sight for the most part. But the sad part about this shit was she was with her man when she was doing this shit. This
Yeah,
is how
I
oblivious
think
men
it's
are.
the eye contact thing too, because the more I think a man like ignores his wife in public, the more she doesn't pick up on the nonverbal stuff. So then
Mm-hmm.
she's just like blatantly, now she's
No,
blatantly flirting with other people because she doesn't even realize that he's not pay attention to her. He's not like paying her any mind, and then she dances. I feel like it's the eye contact that they're like trying to get from you, like so that because then they know that it's a attention. I think innately that's what we look. Some of us who are like some people who are not socialized properly. That's how they go for the eye contact. And then when you don't make eye contact with them, they kind of think like, "What is he? Does he not see me?" And you're like, "Oh no, I saw you. See you trying to look at me, bitch. I'm not. I'm not trying to. I'm not trying to hide it. I'm just not giving you attention." But they don't get that. They don't get that at all.
yeah. And the sad part
They
about
will.
that
They
is
will assume that
the
you
sad
don't
part
know
about
that.
that,
Don't see
or
them.
the sad part about that is women would do that for a long period of time until they get your attention because women want attention for the most part. Women always want attention. And that's the sad part about that. They want attention. And if they can't get it from you, they'll get it from elsewhere. And then you got women that are like obsessed with attention. So they'll get it from you. They'll get it from their children. They'll get it from their mom, your dad, your friends, everybody in the whole entire world, the whole entire social media world, the whole entire Twitter world. They'll get it from every fucking thing. The guys at work, the guys at school, the guys in front of your children's school, and that's typically what that is. Women are addicted to attention for the most part. Um, This is where all this shit comes into play with the whole entire lock thing, basically. Do I want a door that a bunch of keys can unlock, or I want a door that only one key can unlock? Or do I want a door that can be picked, or the padlock can be broken, basically? And that's typically how you got to look at women. Do I want a secure door, or do I want a door that everybody can get in? Or everybody's been in for the
Yeah,
most part. Or basically at this
personally,
point,
yeah.
if everybody's been in it, that's pretty much an ajar door. Why would you want to walk in an ajar door? It'd be like no different if you come home from somewhere and your door's ajar, basically. Or you're just going to walk in the door?
How can a door be ajar?
A jar. I have ADT.
Okay, fine. That doesn't matter. If your door's ajar and ADT is not going off, would you walk in your fucking house?
Probably
One of
not.
my robots
My
would
point is,
probably
my
tell
point
me what's going
exactly.
on,
So
and I can
why
either
would you want to
deploy
pick
a
a woman?
countermeasure
Why would you want to
or
pick
an
a woman?
offensive.
Why would you want to pick a woman?
Oh, but we're not talking about my house.
Yeah, why would you want to pick a woman that's been pretty much ransacked, or who the door's open to for the most part? If the door's open, why would you want to pick that woman? In other words,
Yeah. Well, I think a lot about the like club scenes in movies as a good analogy, because it's like when you think about Neo or Blade, whenever they go into a club, like they're not the ones that
That's a
are
hot dog down the
pop,
hallway.
popping
yeah.
bottles and shit. They're not
Hmm.
they're not doing anything. They're not doing. They're sitting back and watching everybody. And then the guy who's like popping bottles is the guy that like Batman or Blade or somebody's about to go kill. Like the guy who feels dominant in that setting is usually the most vulnerable because he's just
Yeah,
paying all these bitches
and
attention.
that's the sad part about alphas. An alpha is only an alpha until a sigma or another alpha shows up that can out alpha him. Basically, that's typically
Like
how that
imagine
works.
that. Imagine you're in the club popping bottles and you're like got your, you whatever your look that's attracting all the women, or you got the most flashiest keychain with all the different keys because you're
Or you're
rich
basically just
hag.
popping expensive bottles, basically, and all the women are around you. The sad
Something.
part about that is, like I said, that's pretty much your alpha males. Your alpha males are only your alpha males until a sigma shows up, or until a even better, stronger alpha shows up. That's typically how that works. Alphas are only situational.
Like I guess you can only, well, I guess think of it as like if you're born locally next to like a really touristy area, you'll like sort of naturally pick up their vibe more than you would like. So if you lived in a more rural place or a less trafficked place, you would sort of grow with those dimensions of,
Yeah,
and you wouldn't be able to say feel certain dominant in a certain environment. Like if you move states, for example, like that's something that I had to learn is that, oh, you're just getting in your head, this, that, and the other. You're overthinking it. Like say, for example, like if you're talking to somebody who's feels uncomfortable at a club, then that person goes across the country to a different club, or into the middle of the country for another club, and this feeling's the same. So it's not. I don't think it's that like, oh, you don't want to get to know people. It's just like the way that you were raised is to not be so comfortable in that environment with all
See,
that kind of
I
stuff
think you're
going on.
overthinking it. I
yeah,
think you're
you're
overthinking
overthinking.
it
You're pretty
because
much overthinking. Yeah, you are.
you know you don't. Okay, let's give another analogy, a famous double I analogy. You don't go to the fish market and say, okay, I'm going to buy a good looking fish today, right? I'm going to buy a really good looking fish today. I'm going to cook that bitch up. So going through the fish market, you got to go early in the morning. Otherwise, you're not going to
Your
get the
fish has been
best
sitting out there a
ones.
while. Your fish has been sitting out there
Exactly.
for a while. You're not going to get the best one.
So say you go in at 6 o'clock in the afternoon. Bad idea, right?
Oh
Let's
yeah,
just say you
definitely.
go
It's
anyway.
probably closed too at that point.
It's probably closed.
Yeah.
But let's just say you got a couple of stragglers laying around, right? So you see a fish on one of their stands. They say, "How much for that fish?" He says, "Hey, you can have it." Is that the one you want? No, you want the
You can have it
first
for free.
one. The
Basically,
be-
you
It's
have it for
usually
free,
five
you
dollars
don't want
off.
that fish. Basically,
It's usually like half off or something. $5
yes.
off.
The sad part about
right?
that, you never want half off fish. Basically, is what we're trying to say to you. You never want
Yeah.
anything half off or reduced
Yeah.
price. Basically,
I'm
and
not
that's
saying
typically
show up. I'm not saying show up crack of dawn as soon as they open that fish market. I'm saying is make sure you know when, where, and what you're looking for.
Definitely. You just don't want to shop for any fucking thing. Because
You don't
showing up
want the
late and
fish at
just
the
picking up
end.
anything, yeah, because you end up with like all types of shit basically in your
Chum.
system.
You'll be
You'll end up with
chum.
all,
Y'all
yeah,
cut
or bottom
coupons?
feeders basically at that point.
Don't be a chump.
Yeah, don't be a chum eater basically. And the sad part about that, it'd be no different than produce for the most part. When you go to the produce aisle, you don't just pick up any damn thing. You inspect it. Am I right or wrong? When you get apples, you inspect the apples, or when you get a tomato, you inspect the tomatoes. Same thing goes
So
for cantaloupe.
should any
No,
I mean
no,
should
no.
any guy be shocked that
You're wrong there. You're wrong there. When I order my food delivery guy to pick up apples, he picks them for me.
Really
should
double
any
out.
guy be
Really,
shocked that has any
this
should
this is
any
this
I'm
is
just
this is
kidding.
this is this is why I
I'm
don't this is
trolling
why
you.
I don't this is why I don't eat at double ass house. Because I know where
hold
all
on.
my food comes from, and it's a very narrow margin for somebody to fuck with my food, basically. But yeah,
I
but I understand what you're
I
saying. Double out. You got
I think
jokes over
like
there.
I totally misinterpreted that. And I was thinking it because
You
the
never
only
want
reason
another
is just
guy to
because
pick your produce out for you. You want to pick out your own produce, basically. So all that
yeah.
blind date shit, you don't want to be in that shit, basically. You want to be able to pick out your own damn produce, basically. So you never want somebody to
Yeah, that's
blind
probably
date
way
your
too much.
ass. You never
You
want
don't
Yeah,
somebody to
want
hook you up.
somebody else squeezing your melons.
Yeah, basically.
yeah.
You want your own damn melons, basically. You want your own damn tomato. You want your own
So
damn
what is
thing,
okay?
basically.
So college campus? What kind of what is the produce environment or what is the produce ecosystem of a college campus? Is it possible to even find?
That's
Are,
my
are
favorite
are you really
place.
asking this question? It's basically like it's basically like the one video I
Is
did
it like the
where like
8 p.m.
it's
produce, like with the
well
tarp
no
over it on it?
Well,
I'm gonna tell you
for a
what
guy
kind of
like
produce
me
it
on a
is.
Segway, it's like slim pickings, but for
Well,
you, it's
no,
a different story.
the sad part about that, the best way to describe that would be
It's not slim pickings. What am I saying? Like easy
yeah.
pickings,
Well,
fish in a
basically,
barrel.
the best way to describe that produce as the college life would be imagine this.
I can
Uh,
just
uh,
walk up to the shore and grab one.
imagine yeah, basically, imagine this. You work at a hospital. You're the only one at the hospital that washes your hands. Y'all go shop at the same supermarket. You seen a doctor that don't wash his hands. You seen several nurses that don't wash their hands. You seen patients that pretty much do some nasty shit too. You watch them pick up all the produce, put it back down. Would you, knowing that they don't wash your hands, would you go in after them to pick up the produce or go get the produce? Knowing that they don't really wash their hands,
No.
it'd be no different than like if you went in one. Basically, think of it like this: if you work at a hospital and you go into an infection control room, basically, and you seen the doctor going without no mask or gown, and he comes out, and then you go in with a mask and gown, and you go to the next room, and he's in that room without washing his hands, in the next room without a mask that where he don't need a mask and gown. Or are you going to stop the doctor from going in there, or are you going to just let him go in there and get the person infected? That's basically that what I'm saying is it's basically a big ass petri dish, basically. After a while.
Yeah.
College campus is basically a big ass petri dish for the most part.
Uh,
So any college campus is a big ass petri dish. Even a girl that says I don't do that, or the girl that says I'm not like that, is pretty much a petri dish. Think of it like
well, guys. Well, then you
microbiology.
gotta. No,
Most
then you
people don't
let
want
you
to
look
work
at
in
guys.
microbiology. Only a select few
Guys,
people want to work in
guys that
microbiology.
graduate from college and graduate from those college campuses have like, they better get a new lock for that closet full of fish skeletons. That they
Well,
got
no,
up in their
it's
closet.
not even that. They might want to get, they might want to get a they might want to just replace the whole entire lock because they might have some sexually transmitted diseases in that lock or that key.
That key. Yeah, just drop the. Just you can't just drop your key. I mean, yeah, you can. You can drop the key.
At that point, you might as well drop your key
Might as well
and
just
you just go
throw
monk
it away.
basically at that point because if you got a sexually transmitted disease you can't get rid of, it sucks being you. If you got a sexually transmitted disease you can
Yeah.
get rid of, then you might want to rethink your life basically at that point. Because the
Yeah.
sad part about it
Right.
now is now with the whole entire gonorrhea, chlamydia, and syphilis that are not curable anymore. Now that shit is real. Now there's no medicine that can cure that shit. There's no 3, 4, 5 day, 6 day pill that you can take basically to actually make it go away anymore. That's just done mutated and got much more dangerous, basically. So college campuses, think of a college campus as non-curable chlamydia, non-curable gonorrhea, and non-curable syphilis.
Yeah. I mean, it's not that I would say like judge a person who's trying to pick up women there, but at the same time, I don't expect me to be okay with do with like
Well, the
going
thing is,
after
though, I
him.
do judge people that do that because I work in microbiology, so I judge everybody.
Yeah, I have no expert. I have expertise in like that's the thing. I don't really have
Yeah, I've
expertise
worked in
in
microbiology,
microbiology.
serology, and bacteriology, basically. So,
My
serology,
cousin
basically,
was a
Well, I don't.
is a microbiologist.
Nice.
simple.
Two of them now. I got two cousins that do microbiology.
So
Isn't that
basically,
crazy?
yeah, I know, right? But yeah, that's typically my. So I judge everybody basically. So if you don't wash your hands, I'm judging you. If you don't, if you do something willy nilly and you don't use a condom, and I have an idea how many people have been have been like in that lock, I'm judging you.
Oh yeah, you have to. You have to
Because the sad part
nowadays.
about that is like a good example that when I went to college at like when I went to college at a certain college, I'm not going to say the name of because I don't want to get this person in trouble. But basically, there was this girl that literally was having sex with three or five different people from each alphabet. Basically, she was on T's. Let that just think in. She was already on fucking T's. She went all the way from A to T, and she was basically banging 3 to 5 people from each of those alphabet, each of those letters. But if your name started with this, she was banging you basically. You see what I'm saying? Now she's already
Yeah.
at T, and she's already had multiple people, and she needs 2 more T's. And luckily I was K, so I didn't have to worry about that shit.
Yeah, I had a
You see what
friend
I'm
in
saying?
college who just like held down this one girl for all throughout college, and then like, meanwhile, all this pandemonium was going on around them. And like, as a guy, I feel like I did my fair share of participation in like, just partying and drinking, having fun and stuff. But I mean, I still would like always think about how it's gonna impact my life outside of this little like 4 year
Yeah, and the sad part
education.
about
I
that is
always thought
like you.
about that. I always thought about my schoolwork. Like at the end of the day, is
It's
really
not.
the only thing that matters.
The sad part about that is it does
It doesn't
affect your.
matter.
The sad part about that is you have to think long term when it comes to shit like that because it does affect you in the long run, sadly.
It
And
does and it
Yeah.
doesn't.
well,
I'm telling you,
no.
everything you're being
I'm
taught.
sorry. Let me rephrase that. If you're a woman, it affects you in the long run. If you're a
If
man, you
you're
can pretty much get away with it.
if you're going to college nowadays, all the shit that you're being taught, that they've got them so neutered as far as trying
That's
to
true.
teach you a proper lesson. You might as well just go to YouTube and learn that shit yourself. I'm telling you, by watching somebody.
Yeah,
Yeah.
and the sad part about that,
Let somebody do it.
a lot of
Let
the
somebody
colleges
like.
Yeah,
nowadays, you can pretty much graduate with a C average, and they're pretty much not going to fail you for the most part. And that's sad. That's pretty much college for today. So all these people running around
Well,
talking
and
about I
I'm a bad
graduated from college.
example.
There's
I'm
a
a bad
high.
example because I graduated with terrible grades, like awful grades.
And the
And I
sad part
pissed
about
off
that is there's a
every
lot of
single
people.
professor.
The sad part about
Pissed
that
them
is you'll
all off.
run into that basically. But the sad part about there are women who are literally graduating who shouldn't be graduating, but because professors are scared. Yeah, because we're going to end
Right.
it pretty
I am
soon
an
here. Because
exception. I'm definitely an
professors
exception.
are scared. They won't say anything about the women basically, or they won't say anything. They won't give them poor grade even if they deserve a poor grade because women are literally accusing professors of like hitting on them and me too and professors basically for giving them bad grades in college anymore nowadays. You see what
Yeah.
I'm
I
saying?
know. I just as a guy, you just shut up and take your bad grade. There's no like negotiations or there's
Well,
no
no,
like
I'm
getting
saying
like.
I'm saying professors literally give women good grades because they're scared of the outcome if they give them a bad grade.
Mhm.
So that's the problem that a lot of colleges are facing. So all these women are technically not really graduating at all. They're technically literally threatening. They're basically
Mhm.
holding professors hostage till they graduate. Basically, they're blackmailing and holding professors hostage until they graduate. A lot of the women in colleges, basically,
Yeah.
that's
I
typically how
mean,
that
it'd be
works.
it'd be hard to teach anything when you have that on your mind, like the threat of emotional blackmail.
Yeah, and the sad part about that, women
from
do
a
that all the
moderately
time.
raised, yeah, from
And the
like a
sad part
poorly
about that, so
raised
you
man
got to
or
think
woman.
about that. You got to think about that when you levy out grades too, because you might hurt somebody's fees, and now you don't got a job tomorrow. You see what I'm saying?
Terrible,
That's typically how
terrible.
that
I'd rather flip burgers than do that, honestly.
And the sad part about that, a lot of these Jeff professors got tenures, and the sad part about that, that fucks up
That
their
means they can't
tenureship.
leave. I know, yeah, but it's like they're incentivized to stay, even though they might not want
But the
to.
sad part
They're
about that,
getting
if they
paid.
fire that professor, they still got to pay that professor because that professor has tenure.
Oh, right. Sorry, I forgot how tenure works for a second.
Yeah,
But yeah,
tenure is the shit. Basically, you want tenureship out of college. Basically, no matter how it pans out, you're getting paid for the most part. But we got to end this because some people got
double
things
life
to
got in.
do, and
All right. Well, subscribe, like if you listen this far. Uh,
Dusty.
in Dust We Trust. This is Bear and Yam.
go double I.
Have a great evening. This is Double I, and I'm out.
Y'all have a good one. Um, this was a podcast, basically. Y'all have a good one. It was a fun podcast. Y'all have a blessed night and be good. And I'm out too. Y'all be good and take care of yourselves and improve yourselves only. Um,
Yo.
yeah, what's up?